So we'll move on to the next presentation. I'm the person who is to present next. This is the title of my paper. Okay. I'm trying to interpret the First World War experience from images and drawings which are 100 years old. Okay. I'll quickly tell you something about the background, the rationale for the study, the objectives, the method, and the findings. Okay. We know that the First World War, 1912, 1919, millions died. It affected families, individuals, and society. And the documentary evidence we have is basically photographs and drawings in newspapers and magazines. Now, what are my objectives? I'm trying to identify the photographs and drawings which depict the lives of the people during the First World War. And also try to identify what exactly was the purpose and the intention of the photographer and all of the artist who did the drawing. Okay, because you cannot take everything for granted. That is why. Now, methodology, I try to identify this from the books which are 100 years old, and I use the look, see, and think strategy to interpret the photographs. So you look, then you see, try to understand, and then think what is the intention and so on. This is a popular strategy used when you are trying to interpret art. Okay, this is number one. This is, as you know, the London Illustrated News. This is June 19, 1915 daily newspaper. You didn't have a photograph. What you see here is this. You see, remember people, England is at war, and they would like to know what is happening. So this is the description. Catching a German spy in the act. A British marshal discovering an enemy agent signaling from a French house. So this is the impact of this. People in Britain, when they see this, they suddenly realize, yes, our soldiers are doing a wonderful work and so on. Now, here's another one. This is education for women. It was a big issue in the beginning of the 20th century. But you can see there were already nurses and nuns who had taken up working for the Red Cross. As you can see, these women, these nuns, they were receiving the orders and they're moving. But look, this is the description. Such a photograph is sadly significant of the inspiring work which they are doing. Why? The merciful task of women who tend the wounded. Remember, it is war, and in war, when these soldiers go out and fight, they may not in the same country, and they're away, they're injured, and who cares for them? These women. So it's a noble work they're doing. See, for them also it's a psychological problem. You see, but they are doing it. So this we have seen nuns taking up work, but this work going right to the war field, helping the soldiers who are injured. Now, you look at the title, this is again from the same Illustrated News, but you look at the description, the new occupation. Ladies of France, France was supposed to be the nation where the fashion is prominent, and Britain disliked, as even Ajumda mentioned earlier, how the constant conflict between Britain and France, how the British hated them. So even that hate element is there even in this description. Ladies of France ministering to the wounded, more familiar with the gaieties of peace than the grimness of war. Look, you can see a small girl beside the nurse, you see. So which means even families were affected, you see. And but then even at this juncture, the British are trying to have a dig at the way it is done in France. Now, I was under the impression history is always written after 100 years or maybe 50 years. But then in 1916 itself, the Times brought out the history of war. And this is volume 7, you see. And it has this particular picture. And look at these ladies. People are looking at something at the top, you see there. That is a Zeppelin they are looking at. And what is a Zeppelin? This is the kind of an airship. This was used for passenger flight later, but in those times, this was used by Germany to bomb. So as you can see, they are looking at it. But I'm going to show you the description of the same thing. The scenes in the street, nobody will forget it, those who have seen it. Instances of heroism of men putting out fires, rescuing threatened women and children during that time. They're shockingly seeing this. They're helpless. The Zeppelins come at night, early hours of the morning, and they are bombing it. And the British are helplessly looking at it. Now let's look at 100 years later how things have changed. What kind of warfare is happening now? How war is giving problems like this. See? And then the same thing, there's something called the Punch magazine. Humorous, it's some kind of satire, it makes fun of people. And this small girl, she asked, Mummy, why didn't you wake me up in the morning when the Zeppelin came? I didn't see it. And look at the mother, she can see the pose in which she sits. Husband and probably the girl's father has gone to war. But then the mother didn't want her to get injured or see. This tells you something about the society of the times. But this is Britannica, and they wanted money for the British Red Cross, and you see this is something that appeared in the Punch magazine, and Mr. Punch begs to recommend his readers, please donate. What are they doing? Everyone, including the king, you see, whatever price listings they are going to give it, and then it's bid and people buy it. So that money goes to the British Red Cross. So that is how war is fought. So you see, everyone, whatever antiques they had, they were donating it, and then that money was being used for this. This was happening then, you see. Now, there's a Harper's magazine. This is a monthly magazine. What is unique about this magazine is that you didn't have color photos. So if there is a story, people used to draw or illustrate it. And in this story, this is about, the title of the story is Comrades. And you see the description is given below. The slow news after slaughtering battle. The mother is going to tell the son, who is dressed like a soldier, his ambition is to join the army or the navy and fight. You can see he's playing with us toys, again, look at soldiers and so on, you see. But the sad news she has to deliver, probably, if his father is no more. So how it affects families, you see. Children are groomed to join the defense forces, and his own father has gone to, and the news comes. How heartening and how it affects families has been well captured in this visual. And one big thing that happened during the war was the sinking of this giant ship, and there was no photograph. We have heard about the Titanic, we have seen the film, but this one ship that was sunk by the German torpedo, and see how they have described it. The sinking of the ship, appalling crime, okay, torpedoed by a German submarine, willful wholesale murder committed. You see, that is how they have described it. You see, this is there. This time they had photographs, real photographs. Earlier it was illustrations. There's just one photo I'm highlighting of a girl whose parents lost because there were many who died. And you can see visuals, real photographs, you see. And here's another one. The soldiers are digging graves for the victims in the churchyard. You can see, and here, see what is it, Germany's greatest piracy, the torpedoing of the Louisiana, you see. And these are real photographs, you see. So it was a big tragedy, unimaginable. And this magazine was trying to communicate this message about it to the people. So I've shown you several pictures. What is the message I have to say? This is Yuthan, the former Secretary General of the United Nations. Wars begin in the minds of men, and in those minds, love and compassion would have built the defenses of peace. I've tried to show you how it affects individuals, families, countries, the economy. Everything is affected. So let us put an end to war. These are references in the order in which I have presented. Okay, I get to see the Illustrated London News, Punch, and so on. Okay, now where did I get all these from? I did a project through a funding from the University Grants Commission. I thought in this particular college, it was set up in 1910. They had antique books 100 years old, and these are books which I had referred. And in fact, later, as part of the funding, I had even started a website. It is New Curator Pedagogue. If you're interested, you can visit this site. You can see several other photos. Okay. So I would like to thank the UGC for giving me that opportunity. Okay. That is it. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening.